What's up, guys and gals? My name is Ben and welcome back to SynAck Time. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at n8n. So not too long ago, I was looking to automate a lot of the things that I do, especially for this channel. I wanted to be able to, every time I post a YouTube video, for it to also post it like on my webpage or like make a LinkedIn post. And so I found a service called Zapier, and it did like every single thing that I needed it to do. Unfortunately, it also comes with a cost. I mean, obviously, they put a lot of time and effort into it, and so they deserve to get paid. But when you're doing something on like a smaller scale like myself, I didn't really want to dive into a plan that would cost me like $200 a year. I know that's not a lot of money, but still, if I could get away with running something that was open source, something I hosted myself, and save myself some money, I think that's kind of a win-win for me. So a while ago, I took a look at n8n for a couple of other different things, but I really didn't give it a lot of chance and a lot of effort. I didn't put in a lot of time into learning all the things that it could do. And that was really my mistake, because it can do so much more than I initially gave it credit for. And the support that you get from the community is just amazing. I want to show you the platform, and then I'm going to show you how to set it up on your own server using Docker. We're going to be using Portainer, and we're also going to be using NGINX Proxy Manager. I've created our own Docker Compose file for that project, so it should be extremely easy for you guys to get up and going with your own n8n server. So without further ado, let's jump into the platform and let me show you all the different things that you can do with this thing. So when you first jump into the platform and you've signed in with your username and password, you're going to be presented with this right here. And it's kind of intimidating because you're not, you're thinking to yourself, well, what do I need to automate? What are the possibilities? And one of the great things about this is, since it is so community supported, honestly, doing some Google searches, you'll find people that have created workflows that do pretty much almost everything you can really think of. But jumping right into the platform, I want you guys to take a look at something here at the very bottom, and that's these templates. If you click on templates, you'll be taken to this web page. And these it's over 1,000 different workflow automations that have been created and are ready for you to import into your n8n instance, like pretty much immediately. Say you wanted to look for something that, let's say here, let's say it's something like with RSS. All right, so turn any RSS feed into an email. If we click on this, here is the workflow that someone has already created for us. So what do you have to do to get all these into your instance? Very easy, actually. If you hit the use workflow, you can copy the template to your clipboard. And this is in the form of a JSON file. So once that's copied, you can paste it and make changes in a Word editor, or we can just drag it right back over here. I'm going to click on this start from scratch. And then when our editor comes up, I'm just going to hit Control V, and that's for paste, in case you didn't know. And here we go. We have our entire workflow already created for us through the generosity of the community. And once it's in here, you can customize it. You can make changes to it. A lot of the community members will also tell you, exactly what to do to set it up. They'll give you these cool little boxes here. And this one is just telling you, hey, add your email creds, add the RSS URLs that you're interested, and you're off to the races. But you can make any sort of adjustments that you want to. You can double click on any one of these steps and customize it. If you wanted to modify the amount of time that it'll run every hour, maybe you wanted to make it every 6 hours, you can do that here, and then just click out of it, and now it's going to do it every 6 hours. You can change the subject or the title of any of these as well. This one still says one every 1 hour, but that's just because we didn't change the name up here at the top. So you just click on that little guy, and we're now going to run it every 6 hours. There we go. So every 6 hours, this guy will run for us. We can also come in and change the RSS feed. So you check it out. They actually put a little finger right there that said, this is where you put your RSS feeds, right here in this box. So if we double click on this guy, and we're going to come up here, and this is where we put our RSS feed. So you can double click on, or you can click on this little box right here, and it'll open it up a little bit bigger so that you can see these are the RSS feeds that are already in there. And this is set up as an array. So this is just several different variables. So if we wanted to add a new one, say we wanted to add, you know, I don't even know if we have an RSS feed or not, but I'm sure we probably do. We've just added that to our array, and we can click out, and we can see that it is set up in here, right there. All right, going back, say you wanted to have it do something else besides just send you an email. You can do that by adding extra steps. So if you look right here, any of the next steps are these little dots. See right here. You can drag out, and it'll ask you, you know, what do you want to do with this next step? Maybe I want to add another application. Not only do I want it to email me, but I want it to do something like maybe post in a Discord channel or something. I can add an action. And this is going to allow you to pick from, like, I think there's got to be at least like 100 different apps in this list that you can choose from. Let me move my head out of the way so you can see. And like, look at all this stuff. This is amazing. And most all these are ones that you will basically just like click on and fill in the blanks. So like, say we were looking for Discord. Here's Discord. And now it's saying, okay, well, got y'all covered on Discord. What do you want to do? Do you want to create a channel every single time this happens? Do you want to just send a message, get a message? I'm going to hit send message. And it says, okay, well, all right, well, I'm fine. Let's send a message, right? So let's fill in the blanks here. And this is really where, you know, Zapier and all those other ones, they do make it like a little bit easier, because they will fill in these blanks for you and set up a lot of this stuff. But if you're willing to put in the work to create your own APIs, which honestly, they're really easy to do, then you're going to save yourself some time, money, and you're going to be able to do all of the advanced customizations that you would normally have to pay for through this software that is open source. It is asking us for some API credentials, and to add that is really easy. You will just come in here, drop down, we'll hit create new credentials, and once you set them up, you will be able to reuse them over and over again. It's asking us for a bot token, and if we're a little kind of confused as far as what it's asking us for, we can click on this link. It says Open Docs, and this will tell you exactly what you need to do to set up a bot token. It's like, here are all the steps you have to do right here. So very easy to do. And once we have that in our n8n, we'll be able to, I'm just going to save this real quick. We'll be able to come over here to overview and our credentials, and all of them will be listed here. So before I show you how to set this up on your own server, I will show you like really quickly the workflow rule that I created, like having very, very little experience with n8n, but it's very intuitive and there's a ton of support. So don't be afraid to jump in, fail, learn things. And honestly, the more time you put into this, the quicker you'll be able to churn these out and set up whatever automation you want, really. This one I'm really kind of proud of. Basically what this does is this looks for the latest videos that I posted on YouTube, pulls the description, looks for the image of the thumbnail, and uploads that to my web page, then uses ChatGPT to create an article for me, so it'll describe the video, put it on my site for other people to know about, and then finally it goes through and it posts the article as well as the image on my WordPress site. So like really easy to set up. It also has the ability to split off and do different things. So not only is it coming through here and it's making a WordPress post, but it's also coming down here and it's generating a smaller description and putting that on X, and also probably eventually like my LinkedIn page. So with a little bit of time, you can, like, this is going to save a ton of time for me personally, because I really enjoy making the videos. I don't enjoy so much typing articles, but I still want people to be able to find my videos. And this will be a huge time saver, and it'll run automatically. I don't have to do anything with it. It's going to trigger every 24 hours and take care of a lot of that for me. So yeah, like I said, huge time saver. So with that being said, I definitely encourage you to come in here and just start playing around with things that you maybe want to automate, or things that you've been doing manually that can be automated. Maybe throwing in some AI in there, and you're not really just limited to ChatGPT. There is an app for it, but there's also a bunch of different AI that you can use. And if there's something that's missing that is not an app, but it does have like an API, I want to show you something really cool before we break. Let's click on this little plus symbol. Let's go under Add App. And if we click right here and we do a search for HTTP, we can do an HTTP request. And what this allows us to do is basically anything that has an API, we can set up just a generic HTTP request to pull information from that API. So if you somehow found a program that doesn't exist in n8n, there's nothing preventing you from creating this integration yourself and using it, with different workflow rules. Really, like all this, you basically you have all the common things that you would normally use with an API: get, patch, post, whatever. You provide it with a URL, and then down here you can send specific headers or specific body tags to get information. And once you get that information, it's set as variables over here that you can use later on in other workflow rules. I don't know if you noticed, but in that last example that I showed you, I had a YouTube app, but also I needed to get more information about that YouTube video. I wanted to get that like a longer description. So the YouTube app didn't have that, but I was able to set up an HTTP request to Google's API and pull that additional information. So definitely experiment. This is great if you really want to have a lot more control over these automations. And like I said, it has a great community. But all right, so other than that, I think that pretty much covers most all of it. Let's start with the fun thing, and let's get this going on your server so that you can start creating your own automations. So I'm going to jump over there and I'll see you in just a second. Okay, so for this installation, we are going to jump right in, and we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to be using Docker, and we're also going to be using NGINX Proxy Manager. Let's jump over to my screen, and I'm going to start off with just the subdomain creation. So we go ahead and get that out of the way. For this, I'll be using Namecheap, but you can use whatever you want to. Let's do this. I'm going to create just a simple n8n, and I'm going to forward it to my external IP address, and I'm going to save those changes. Let's start off here. If you just Google n8n, one of the very first things you'll find is their website, and there is a bunch of really helpful information on here. But one thing you may start questioning is like the pricing. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be using this community edition right here, and we're not going to have to pay any of these any of these pricing plans. But if you decide, hey, I want some of these features, I want to be able to share my projects, or I want to be able to use this for my business and share it with other employees, then you might want to look into these. Possibly even like the enterprise edition, totally up to you. But for this one, we're going to be using community. If we click on view docs and you look for the server setup, the easiest one to do is the Docker compose. But if you scroll down here, it'll walk you through doing the through the command line, and that's cool. And if you keep scrolling, you also see it mentions Trafic, and we're not going to be using that. We're going to be using NGINX Proxy Manager, and there's nothing really mentions how to set that up in here. And that's why I went ahead and set up a section on my GitHub for you guys. So if you go under YouTube and you go under n8n, I created a Docker Compose file and an environment file that uses that will allow you to use NGINX Proxy Manager, and it'll also help you set up your Postgres server so that you're storing all of your data in a separate container that you can back up, and probably a little bit more efficient for you too. So this is the Docker Compose file we're going to be copying, and I'll explain how it works in just a second. All right, let's do this. Let's copy it, and let's go over to Portainer, and let's just go under stacks. Let's add a new stack, and let's just call this n8n, and I'm going to paste that Docker Compose file. I also need to grab the environment file, the .env file. So once I'm back at my GitHub, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go under the .env sample. I'm going to copy this and head back to Portainer. And if you scroll down, you see right here at the bottom, you see where it says advanced mode. Let's click on that, and that way we can just paste what we copied. Don't worry if it cuts out all of the comments. That's kind of normal for Portainer. All right, so let's do what we do in pretty much all of my videos, and let me show you what we're going to be doing with this Docker Compose file, just so you're kind of aware of there's no surprises. So once I'm back at my GitHub, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go under the .env sample. I'm going to copy this and head back to Portainer. And if you scroll down, you see right here at the bottom, you see where it says advanced mode. Let's click on that, and that way we can just paste what we copied. Don't worry if it cuts out all of the comments. That's kind of normal for Portainer. All right, so let's zoom in here. So I like to always cover what the compose file is doing, so there's no surprises and you're familiar with what you're installing. A very beginning thing what we're going to be hitting is our Postgres installation. It's also going to be putting the data for our Postgres server into this volume, this n8n_pg data. We are going to be specifying a couple of environment variables, specifically the passwords, and we're going to be pulling from our environment file, my .env file, for that information. That's why you see the $, like brackets and Postgres_password, because it's defined later on, because I do use this variable in the n8n as well, so this keeps us from having to type it in twice. We do our user name and our password, our database name. We're also going to be adding this to a specific network, our n8n_network. And lastly, we have our health check. This is just a command that it'll run every once in a while just to make sure that the container file is healthy. But we are going to be using n8n.synhow.com. So the subdomain is everything that is in front of this synhow.com. Have our time zones. We need to set our password to something that is, secure and not easy to guess. The same thing for your username. You can call that whatever you want to. Database is also the same. These are all very customizable to whatever you want. The host name, I would leave that alone unless you plan on changing the host name in the compose file up here at the top too. Postgres port, you can leave this alone as well. This is 5432. This is just the port that n8n is going to be communicating with when it comes to talking to the Postgres server. We have not made the Postgres server internet facing, so that's why we have these ports or commented out here at the top. So that's the reason for that. All right, so with that being said, and that being explained, let's scroll down and let's deploy this. Okay, so once it is deployed, we can check its status by going under n8n and clicking on, let's check on our Postgres server. And cool, we can see at the bottom that our database system is ready to accept connections. You can see where it created the database up here, which is cool. That means we should be ready to go. All right, so since we are using NGINX, let's make sure that it also has access to these containers. So we go in here, we scroll all the way to the bottom. All right, let's drop this network down and let's click on the n8n. That's the network that we set up. And let's join. All right, so we can see at the very bottom that we have joined the n8n network. And now we can allow our NGINX Proxy Manager to communicate with these new containers we just created. All right, so let's make note of the name of the container n8n. That's the one that's going to be receiving web traffic. So if we go over to our NGINX Proxy Manager, let's click on our hosts and let's add a new host. So I'm just going to call this n8n.synhow.com. I'm going to be forwarding traffic to n8n. That's the name of our container. And we need to know the port that we were using that our n8n is expecting traffic on. And we can see that under the Docker Compose file. You can see that it's looking for traffic on this 5678. So let's go back here and let's paste that port in there. I'm going to block common exploits and WebSocket support, and I'll hit save. All right, next up, we want to make sure that we have given it some secure traffic. So let's go back to our proxy host and let's go to SSL, and then let's request a new cert. I want to force SSL and agree to the terms of service and hit save. All right, so if we've done everything right with our subdomain, the Let's Encrypt should be able to reach out to our subdomain and say, yeah, it's good. All right, cool. All right, so that looks good. We got our encryption. Let's see if we did everything right and see if we can sign in. All right, good news. Well, we did everything exactly the way that we should have, and now we are presented with the option for us to set up our own account. So let's do that. Let's just set up bin at snackTime.com. Bin snack. And let's do a password. All right. Once we've done that, it'll ask if you want it to customize to tailor fit you. Totally up to you if you want to do that or not. I'm just going to hit get started. One thing that I highly suggest you do is to have it send you a free license. So if you just leave your email address in there and you hit send me a free license key, then it will email you the license key, and you'll be able to, right here at the bottom, you'll be able to click on this usage and plan. You can also access this from the settings, and then you'll just enter your activation key, and that will be the key that is emailed to you. All right, well, that pretty much covers the installation of n8n. The next part is really up to you. What can you automate in your life? You have plenty of things to choose from, a ton of resources from the community, and pretty much no end to the things that you can set up. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I definitely appreciate you tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.